So yeah, guys, is my screen visible to everyone and along with my audio?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So hi everyone, and in this session, we would cover about COP, Conference of Parties. Okay, now why this topic becomes very important? Because as I have already told you since day one, that sustainability is one thing which can be asked from you guys. Yes or no? I have told it कि यार समथिंग फ्रॉम सस्टेनेबिलिटी या फिर कुछ भी पूछा जा सकता है. एसडीजी गोल्स हो गया, सीओपी के ऊपर कुछ, यू आर गेटिंग अ जीडी, पैनलिस्ट ने तुम्हारा व्यू पॉइंट ले लिया. यस और नो? So again, so that is why I have planned this specific session. As we all know, here sessions for some particular colleges, interview sessions and GD sessions are starting from 1st Feb itself. 1st Feb, 2nd Feb, depending upon the slot. Okay, so this is the initial phase where the core process would start. And this is something which you can gel up with other topics of GD. For example, sustainability, environment, temperature, earth temperature, environment, greenery, everything. Guys, are you getting? So what I have done is I have prepared a concise info about what COP is, what are the things that you need to take care of while going further. Okay. So we'll start with the process. So at first we need to know what is COP. As you all know, COP, where C stands for Conference of Parties, C conference, O of, and P parties. Now what is this Conference of Parties all about? The Conference of Parties was generally like collaborated so that they can combat on climate change. For example, the temperature which has been rising day by day, the angles of sustainability, the environmental impact. So that is why this is the purpose of COP. Now, who is the decision body? As you all know that, as we all have studied in Indian politics also, that there is some decision body above every member. Yes or no? We have studied it. So similarly here also there is a supreme decision body, which works for the like we can say for the purpose of those nations, for the purpose of the people, so that everyone is mutually benefited. And the name of the organization is United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. Now it is very easy to remember. As we all know that everything which is like very important is related to United Nations, so you can write UN. Climate change, as you all know, I have told that COP is something related to climate change. So CC. What you only need to remember is FC. UN, CC, FC. FC Barcelona. So you can remember like this. Again, it is for those who are not able to remember this. अब सबको याद हो जाएगा. UN, CC, FC. खत्म. United Nation Framework Convention on Climate Change. Guys, confirm karo now एक बार so that I can know. Yeah. So now we would study what is the purpose and objective of COP. As we all know that each organization has some sort of purpose, be it a business organization, be it an organization which is based upon like faith of political people. Yes. So this organization is also built upon certain parameters and they have its own purpose and objectives. The first purpose and objective is to address climate change. As I have already told that the main purpose is to combat climate change, the rising temperatures on day-to-day basis. Okay, guys, yes or no? Also, then for the first purpose is to monitor those, and the second purpose is to discover alternatives so that we can reduce the impact on the climate. For example, the use of CFCs. CFCs, everyone knows. Okay. Now the second thing. First question time. What is the difference between pre-industrial level and post-industrial level? Pre-industrial and post-industrial. Anyone? Guys, anyone who would like to take a try? Pre-industrial level and post-industrial temperature levels.
So before the industrial revolution and after the industrial revolution as the current temperatures.
Okay, very good. Okay, everyone like answered the same thing, before and after industrial revolution. Good. Now the second, anyone was trying to speak? No. So the second major purpose or objective of COP is global collaboration. As we all know that things work in a very collaborated manner. Yes or no? You cannot do anything independently. If you want to establish a simple example, if you want to establish a software company, you need at least 2 to 3 people who have their own expertise. One should have expertise in finance, one should have expertise in marketing, one should have expertise in operation, one should have expertise in IT. Yes or no? And when these things are collaborated, then only you can build a proper IT company. It is not like you're a simple IT geek guy sitting there and he has planned. तो company चल गई. Yes or no? So similar thing also goes here for global collaboration. The main thing is the aim of COP is to foster cooperation and coordination amongst the other nations and other corporate houses. Okay. So this is the second major thing which like UNFCCC accepts. Okay. The third thing is setting targets. Obviously, if they have collaborated for a purpose, for a reason, they must have some agenda or goals. Yes or no? For example, during the night, you 2 to 3 people have collaborated near the football ground. So obviously you have some purpose to play football. Yes or no? So similarly, the same things lie here. If the nations are collaborating, so they are collaborating for a common cause. And what is that common cause? The common cause is to reduce the reductions, to promote sustainable development, to reduce the temperature, to reduce harmful emissions. Guys, are you getting these 3 objectives? I hope you are noting it down as well. You are making comprehensive notes so that you can go through it once just before your interview. Okay. Now, what are the other key objectives? Okay, some of the objectives I have shared, purpose and objectives. Now, the other thing, 3 we have already covered. The 4th is adopting policies. Like for example, a framework is established and a policy needs to be implemented. So obviously it is expected from each and every country that they should adopt certain set of policies. Yes or no? So that the emission from GHG, greenhouse gases, is reduced. The 5th point is finance and technology. As we all know that technology is in boom nowadays. So the objective of COP is to foster finance and technology so that we can generate, specifically for technology I'm telling first, here we can generate new ways in which we can tackle this world problem. This is a world problem to combat climate change. Also, the support of finance, so for example, from any country, for example, say US or from any corporate house, is expected so that they can help the developing countries. Everyone knows that India is a developing country and not a developed country. Cool. The third thing is data sharing. For example, you are under the umbrella of UNFCCC. Okay, so it is expected that you have certain amount of industries in your particular country. So it is highly expected that you should share the transparent data with everyone. It is not like, for example, I'm just giving an example. There is a random country and they are having 5 factories. Okay, and the 5 factories have 5 chimneys. Each chimney is doing enormous amount of emission, specifically carbon monoxide. And we all know that carbon monoxide is very harmful for health as well as for the environment. But during the convention, during COP, when the country was asked to tell about the number of factories and number of carbon emission, like what is the exact count, the company tried to tell about only 4 chimneys. The company did not disclose the 5th one because obviously it was a profit making deal for the country as well as for that businessman. So that would not work. It is highly expected that the data shared amongst the country or among to UNFCCC is that it should be properly transparent and it should include each and every detail. Okay, so that each and everyone can access here, this is the country, these are the carbon emissions, and we can now tackle according to this. Abhay? Yeah. Okay, so we have discussed 6 purpose and objectives. I hope कि I have also told कि इन्हें memorize कैसे करना है. बस अब एक बार आपको go through करना है. मेमोराइज सब कर लेंगे, मैंने सब चीजों के तरीके बता दिए। यूएनएफसीसी वाला कैसे मेमोराइज करना है, ये जो 6 ऑब्जेक्टिव्स हैं इन्हें कैसे, हाँ। सो बस आपका काम होना चाहिए, यू नीड टू जस्ट स्किम इट वंस जस्ट बिफोर द इंटरव्यू, आई थिंक इट वुड बी मोर देन एनफ। नाउ हिस्ट्री ऑफ सीओपी, again you can add this or the panelist can straight away ask you, you are telling about COP, so can you tell about the history of COP? So at first I would highly suggest that you should remember the year and not the specific date. For example, COP1 was in 1995. The place where it took place was Berlin, Germany. And because it was the initial phases, so obviously the steps were taken to combat climate change. Like what all steps can be taken? For example, we can reduce the emission from CFC, we can reduce the emissions from chimneys and all, because it was the initial. Now, the second COP was held in 2015 and it was named COP21. Okay. Now, this is very important because it has something to do with Paris Agreement. What is Paris Agreement? We'll study, but at first we should know the insights. Okay. Now, again, it is named as COP21. Guys, can anyone tell why it is COP21 and not COP2?
It's target for 2021.
What about others?
So they meet on
It's
year
the
basis.
COP.
So one at a time, guys.
Go ahead, Mansi.
It's the 21st COP.
No, why it is okay. What about others?
So they meet
Sir,
on year basis, na?
difference of years is 21.
So it's the 21st
And
COP, sir. There have been COP 1 to 21.
guys, I'm joining. Just a second. Yeah, guys. Actually, there was a discrepancy in the connection. I am audible now. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So yeah, we have discussed the difference between the years led to the numbering of that year. Yes or no? Now, the third COP according to the importance was named as COP 26 because it was like generated, or we can say it was held after 5 to 6 years. It was held in Glasgow, and the focus was to limit global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial level. Now, my first question. We have already discussed about pre-industrial level and post-industrial level. Yes or no? So can I say the major aim of COP26 was that the temperature should not rise above 1.5 degrees centigrade before the industries were set up, before the industrial revolution was there? For example, the temperature before the industrial revolution was X degree centigrade. So according to COP26, I can say कि as per their criteria or target, the temperature should not rise more than X plus 1.5 degree centigrade. Guys, can anyone confirm?
So I think it's more to do with the average temperature, right? Not the temperature at any point in time.
Yeah. I'm just giving an example about the pre-industrial level meaning. Guys, is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So again, my first opinion would be that you should remember the years and the places where it was held. Now the question which the panelist might ask is, you told about the Paris Agreement. So can you tell what is it all about? My first question can be this. Again, we'll discuss it, but this becomes highly important for your GD as well as for your PI. Now, what is Paris Agreement? In simple terms, if I say, तो यार मैंने कुछ 4-5 लाइन में आपके लिए पेरिस एग्रीमेंट है क्या वो फ्रेम कर दिया है, सो दैट कि यार आप लोगों को भी याद. ठीक है, मैं ऐसा भी कर सकता था क्या कि मैं इसके ऊपर 3-4 स्लाइड बना दूं जिससे कि आप लोग भी कंफ्यूज हो जाओ और मैं भी कूल बन जाऊं. पर क्योंकि यार आपके इंटरव्यू में, फॉर योर इंटरव्यूज, द पैनलिस्ट वुड हार्डली गिव यू 30 to 40 seconds for your PI to represent your views on Paris Agreement. So that is why I have tried to keep it short and crisp. Okay, just 4 lines, remember it, and just speak it in front of the panelist. Okay, now what is Paris Agreement? The Paris Agreement is an international treaty on climate change. We have already discussed that it was in COP 15. Yes or no? Oh, 21, sorry. COP 15. Now it was adopted at the 21st conference of parties COP to UNFCCC in 2015, which we already discussed. Now what was the main goal? The first 3 lines represents क्या, what is it, ठीक है, कब हुआ था ये, कौन से साल में हुआ था. और अगर एक लाइन में कंसाइजली बोलना है तो यार द मेन ऑब्जेक्टिव ऑफ पेरिस एग्रीमेंट वाज टू लिमिट द ग्लोबल वार्मिंग below 2 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels. Again, वही चीज, if the temperature above pre-industrial level was X degrees, so that it must not rise above X plus 2 degrees. Okay, simple and crisp. If someone asks you Paris Agreement, just at first tell what is it, where it was held, where the treaty was signed, and then you can simply tell the main objective. Because telling the main objective becomes a very important part. The panelist only wants to know यार कि ये है क्या. कहानी लिखने को तो इस पे 4 चीजों की कहानी लिखी जा सकती है. I can easily write the content of 4 to 5 slides. But it is highly important that you should remember the main things only. Guys, is that clear? Yeah. Now, who all can participate in this particular COP, Conference of Parties? First is the governments. Obviously, the government represents the nation. So the nations from around the world can participate in this particular COP. Along with that, government officials, for example, we can say the officials which are at higher post, can participate, and they can also help in framing the policy. For example, there is a particular policy which needs to be implemented regarding temperature change. I'm just telling an example. A government official who has a very higher rank can also give his suggestions that what all things can be included or can be excluded. Okay. Now the second thing is the NGOs. NGOs pertaining to the field of climate change, global warming can be also become the key participants for framing of policies because they know the ground reality much better. Yes or no? The NGOs who are working selflessly knows the ground reality better, and they know the actual condition, particularly for environment, climate change. What is the actual condition? So they will help better the officials. Here you can adopt these policies, and as per this data, we can like follow these. The third thing is UN agencies. Obviously, are like as I have already told, UNCCFC is the head. So pertaining to that, the umbrella of UN, various UN agencies can also participate in this, and they can give their viewpoint. For example, as it has been mentioned here, that agencies like UN Environment Program and World Meteorological Organization participate in COP to provide technical expertise and support. Okay, so yeah, the organization which is competent in their own field can give their views. Guys, are you getting this? Can you can just give a thumbs up or something like that? Yeah. So guys, my first question: how many countries were there in COP? You can just unmute your mic and then you can tell.
So 196.
196. What about others? Specifically in COP 28. My specific question. Now,
So I
anyone?
think it was 199.
190. What about the others? Guys, you can switch on your mic because like chat बार बार दिखती नहीं है इसलिए. So in COP 28, there were 197 countries plus European Union. Okay. Now, another question which can generally be asked is COP 29. Will it be held, and where it would be held, and in which year? Anyone?
Sir, COP 29 will be held in Azerbaijan in the very next year, 2000. In this year, currently 2024.
Okay. What about others? Anyone else who wants to give their views upon it?
So same, it will be held in Baku in Azerbaijan and in this year perhaps.
So in November month.
Okay. Yeah. Now the major aim of COP 29 would be to like do something more on Paris Agreement. Okay. And to limit the impact of global warming. In 2 lines, you can simply say this. If the panelist asks you, Kia COP 29 would be held where? What would be the year? So it would be like held in Azerbaijan in 2024 in the month of November. Very good. So can you give me some insights upon it? Like what would be the major agenda? So simply say that the major aim of COP 29 would be to like work further on Paris Agreement and also to limit the emissions. Something like that. Okay, just let me write down here so that it would be better. To work further on Paris Agreement and also to adapt steps so as to reduce global warming. These two things you can tell in front of the panelists. Okay. Is there anyone who is specifically from environment department? For example, if he has done his BSc in environment or climate change. Anyone?
So BSc in geology.
Okay. So Pragati, again, it becomes a very important piece of news for you. This whole topic. COP
Yes, sir.
plus sustainability. Okay. Yeah. Now.
Sir, I have a question. If I may
Yeah.
ask. In this COP 27, right?
Yeah.
28, yeah, sorry. The target was to stop the temperature at 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial level.
Yeah.
But in Paris Agreement, was it 2 degrees Celsius? So have we reduced the target?
Specifically, yes. After 5 to 6 years, what the government of UNFCCC is trying to do, they have tried to reduce the target, because the global warming is one of the major impact. So what they wanted to do, simply understand this. They wanted to reduce global warming, and it can be only reduced by reducing the temperatures. So earlier the target was 2 degrees centigrade, and now it is 1.5 degrees Celsius. Okay.
Okay, so in the next year, they will work toward achieving this revised target, right? Not the Paris Agreements one.
Again, that's criteria of COP29. Once it would be held, so the things would come out. Okay, like what would be the temperature? Will they work on similar temperature range of 1.5 degrees Celsius, or they will try to reduce the temperature to 0.5 degrees Celsius? तो जब ये मीटिंग होगी, so जब ये पता चल पाएगा, क्योंकि every country has to negotiate and has to agree. It is not like यार, for becoming cool, I can simply say कि the temperature should not exceed above 0.25 degrees Celsius. But practically it is not possible, specifically for India as well.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So there should be a mutual agreement and logical agreement. Yeah. Now the structure and organization of COP. Like what all things are there in COP? Okay, it is a 2 to 3 day meeting. We can simply say, we cannot call it a event. Okay, the first one is the plenary sessions. So the basic aim of plenary session is to, like, they provide a forum where the members of all states meet to negotiate and adopt agreements. Members from like different countries, members from different NGOs, members from different party, they sit upon and they like tell what are the problems and what could be the decisions. Along with that, there are side events which go on simultaneously. It is specifically for the stakeholder to showcase their work. For example, if there is a certain sort of business or startup which can positively help our environment. I'm telling a simple example. For example, in COP, there is a particular startup. Okay, they have showcased their stall and they are claiming that they can reduce the emission from chimneys to 95%. Okay, so in these side events, these startups are given opportunity so that the officials of countries who are visiting specifically for COP can also have a look at these startups and can invest in them. So it is mutually beneficial. कंट्री को भी बेनिफिट मिल गया क्योंकि 95% जो एमिशन है वो रिड्यूस हो गए, स्टार्टअप को भी फंडिंग मिल गई. ओके, बट इट इज हाईली ओरिएंटेड टुवर्ड्स क्लाइमेट चेंज, एनवायरमेंट, सस्टेनेबिलिटी. इट इज नॉट लाइक यार मैं कुछ आईटी का स्टार्टअप लेके आई कैन रीच देयर एंड देन आई कैन शोकेस. ओके guys, is that clear? Now the third thing is exhibition space. Again, one and the same thing. So there are certain exhibition rules where some companies or organizations can display and promote sustainable practices and innovative technologies. It is one and the same things. Exhibition space plus side events. Okay. So you can also note down this structure and organization of COP. You can simply speak upon these. Guys, is that clear? Everyone, I hope you are making the notes. Yeah. Now, what are the achievements of previous COPs? For example, the panelist might ask, okay, you know everything. Now, can you tell me what were the achievement of previous COPs? Was it helpful or was it totally waste? Okay. So you can simply tell about Paris Agreement, the aim, yes or no, and what was the like particular achievement. So it helped reducing the climate conditions, adverse climate condition. Again, their complete data is not available. कि यार was it practically implemented? How many countries were like, was it helpful for any country? Was it helpful for like any nation, any organization or not? Because यार if for example I as a country stakeholder मुझे अपना view देना है, so I can simply say yeah, it was helpful and I was able to maintain the temperature range. But यार initially I know कि the condition was not that. पर एक्सपेक्टेशन क्या थी सीओपी की, शुरू में करवाई थी? एनीवन? ट्रांसपेरेंसी? यस और नो? यस और नो? So on one side we are talking about transparency, and on the other side what we are doing is we are simply reporting that okay, the Paris Agreement was very helpful and we were able to maintain the minimum temperature range. However, the actual condition everyone knows. It is not like yeah, every nation is telling the false news, but there are some nations which obviously tell the false news. Okay, because so that the certain bans are not imposed on them. The second thing is renewable energy pledges. As we all know, the major aim of COP was to promote sustainability, to promote environment, like safety of environment. So the renewable energy resources were highly promoted in different countries. Yes or no? So the demand for renewable energy also increased. The demand as compared to the conventional source of energy obviously would increase. And also one thing which I could figure it out was कि यार if the demand for renewable energy is increasing, so the organizations who are like developing these products pertaining to the field of renewable energy would be highly benefited from this. This is another piece of argument जो कि मैंने सोचा. सेकेंड पॉइंट में इतना लिखा है, पर यार मैंने सोचा कि जो कंपनीज who are developing renewable energy products, can be anything, so they are also getting benefited from this because the people would buy more in a particular country or in a particular nation. Yes or no? So you can also add this point कि from the field of, from the perspective of business, the business who were promoting renewable energy and their products also got benefited from this COP. The third thing is the enhanced climate adaptation. Now, after the implementation of COP, the major aim was to obviously reduce the temperature ranges. So the after emission, it has led to improved strategies for climate adaptation. For example, now, because of the policy of transparency, now the country has to think, yeah, if we would like develop n number of factories, they would emit high amount of carbon monoxide, and as a result, what like during the like as a result, what can be there? कि यार the temperature might increase. It is not like यार अचानक increase कर जाएगा. ये decrease करने में भी सालों लगते हैं, ये increase करने में भी सालों लगते हैं. Guys, are you getting? ऐसा नहीं होगा कि यार मैं यहाँ पे जैसे मान लो कि स्पेसिफिकली फॉर इंडिया मैं 1000 फैक्ट्रीज यहाँ पे बंद कर दूं आज के आज, तो ऐसा नहीं होगा कि मान लो टेम्परेचर प्री इंडस्ट्रियल लेवल से 23 डिग्री सेल्सियस था, एक एग्जांपल दे रहा हूँ बस हाइपोथेटिकल, तो अगले दिन सीधा 21 डिग्री सेल्सियस हो जाएगा. इट इज नॉट लाइक दैट. इट विल टेक मेनी ईयर्स. गाइस, आर यू गेटिंग? एंड सेम गोज विद कि यार अगर फैक्ट्री लगाऊंगा तो भी टेम्परेचर धीरे धीरे बढ़ेगा, फैक्ट्री हटाऊंगा तो भी सालों लग जाएंगे. पर बिकॉज ऑफ द पॉलिसी ऑफ ट्रांसपेरेंसी, द गवर्नमेंट हैज टू थिंक कि यार वी शुड नॉट प्रमोट एनी सच सोर्सेस which can lead to a negative impact to the environment. Because we are sharing data, there is some sort of transparency, and somehow if we get caught, so it can lead to very adverse consequences. For example, the particular organization or the country can straight away be diluted from UN umbrella. I'm talking about UN umbrella. I'm just giving you my perspective. Yes or no? Yes or no, guys? Cool. Now, yeah, achievements and outcome. What I have done is I have collaborated the list of countries. Okay, this data is particularly, I have taken the average of COP 15, 21 and the first COP. Okay, so again we can say in COP 15 the count of countries was different, in COP 21 the count was different, in COP 1 the count was different. So I took a approx number. However, if the panelist asks you, here tell me the data, for example, tell me the number of countries, so you need to like explicitly tell here in COP 21 there were 197 countries plus one European nation. In COP 28, COP 29, there would be 199 countries. Guys, are you getting? Okay, so first thing you need to remember is here kaun si COP kab hui thi. The second thing which you need to remember is the places. Ki the particular COP was held in which place. Okay. And the third thing you need to remember is the number of countries in each COP. Yeah. Now, again, there were 195 countries. I took a random number. 85% greenhouse gas emissions were covered as per the data shared. The data is transparent or not? The government has manipulated the data, yes or not? We do not know. But as per the reports, 85% greenhouse emissions were covered. Okay. And the goal to remain under 1.5 degrees Celsius. Okay. We were able to maintain it as a whole world. I'm not talking about specific country, but as a whole, we were able to maintain this figure. Again, we do not know that this figure is true or not. But as per the data provided by UNCCFC, they have provided this data pertaining to greenhouse emission 1.5 degrees Celsius goal. Now we can do a GD, short GD here. Yes or no? Yes or no? Okay. So the question for your GD is, here the organizations pertaining to the field of UN who are manipulating the data, should they adopt this step to manipulate the data to save various businesses, or should they openly disclose here we were not able to maintain this, we were not able to maintain this? Guys, are you getting? There are two different things. Are you getting? Yeah. Take a time, a minute or so, and then we'll start. Okay. My first preference would be for those who will raise their hand. Guys, did everyone got the question? Should the organizations manipulate the data to save the businesses, or should they disclose the data to save the humanity? In simple words, we would start with Shirish, followed by Prajwal.
Yeah, hi. So I believe that they should disclose the
Shirish,
data.
small suggestion, consider yourself in a formal conversation and do not say hi, hello.
Okay.
What you can do is in front of the panelist also, you can greet him good morning or good evening, depending upon the day. Yeah.
Sure. Good evening, sir. So in my opinion that the country should disclose the data actually, because if they are not disclosing the data transparently, then the whole purpose of the COP will not be solved, because as we are trying something to achieve, and when we are manipulating the data, that cannot that cannot go as in a positive way towards our goal, because if one country will start manipulating, then other can also do the same, then the whole purpose can be fulfilled in this way. So in my opinion, they should disclose the data. Yeah.
Prajwal?
Good evening, everyone. I would like to agree with what Shirish said, that disclosing the data would lead us to, or the people to understand what the actual scenario is. Whereas manipulating the data just in order to keep the businesses alive will create more and more problems. Just if we close our eyes doesn't mean that the problem is gone. So if you manipulate the data and present a beautiful picture that, okay, we are achieving the targets, we are achieving the numbers, that doesn't mean we are actually doing it. It may pose a greater threat in the future if you do not consider the actual risk right now.
Okay. Anyone else? Or should I call the names randomly? Pratyush.
Yeah, so even I think that the data should be disclosed by the countries regarding their actual progress in curbing pollution and other environmental and climate change safety factors. But another thing which should be taken into consideration is that the countries which are most likely to fudge the data are also the ones which are in the development phase and most probably cannot compromise on the economy. So what I believe is that in the COP conferences, not all countries can be held to the same standard, and all of them cannot be expected to perform their best in tackling climate change with as efficiently as the developed countries. So I believe that there should be honesty on the side of all the countries, and there should also be consideration of their economy and other factors which they might go through. So these are the things which I believe should happen.
Okay. Anyone else who wants to give their views?
Hi.
Yeah.
Good evening.
Your name followed by
Uh,
your views. Yeah.
my name is Omkar. Good evening. I would also like to agree on the point that the countries should disclose their data, since most of the countries follow a democratic pattern, and the COP also shows a structure of democratic pattern, that the data should be available to all, so that the people and the government should follow a definite direction to achieve the target. And businesses usually over a decade, you can see like it can fall or rise depending on various factors. While to achieve a certain climate action, it takes years and years to build on. So I believe the data should be provided so that people and the government can act on it.
Okay. Tanish.
So I agree to the point that Pratyush was mentioning, right? That the first of all, we need to understand the incentive behind countries declaring the incorrect data, right? We need to understand the incentives and bucket the countries as per each of their categories, right? They could be growing and developing economies which have an incentive to declare the incorrect data so that they are able to meet the target that has been set, and continue their
Okay.
economy. But however, there would be larger countries as well which would be fudging their data, and those violations should be looked at with a different lens. At the same time, in order to identify these inaccuracies in data, right, basically the countries of COP should adopt some sort of mechanism or a maker checker mechanism through which these inaccuracies can be identified.
Good. Isha.
Good evening. Am I audible?
Yeah.
So, building upon what Pratyush said, so the statement says that should they disclose, should they manipulate data for saving their businesses? So, I think obviously the data should not be manipulated, but if the reason behind manipulating the data is that the countries need to upsurge their businesses or save their economies, then we can distribute the carbon credits accordingly to the countries, so that manipulation will not be necessary.
Next. Aditya Soni. Aditya Farte. Akash Bhavsar.
Good evening, sir. This is Akash. So I would like to agree with what the other members have also said, that the data should not be manipulated, and since the countries are being made to, like, they are in a situation where they have to manipulate data. I think all the organizations can go back to the drawing room and look into if there is a need for bucketing the countries into different clusters, so that the targets are different for each of the buckets.
Okay. Pranav Raj.
Good evening, sir. I do agree with other members. And one more point that I would like to add is it is very important that true data gets out so that in future when we are redefining or reevaluating our targets, we can have a better number to look at and to gauge where we stand and make targets for future accordingly. So looking at that lens, it becomes really important that the countries share their real data so that we can use those data to put up targets, future targets.
Okay, good, Pranav. Anyone else who wants to give their views, or should we move to the next slide? Guys, anything you have, just put it, speak it. ठीक है, first Feb is about to come. Interviews would start happening from the next week. अब नहीं बोलोगे तो वहां क्या बोलोगे ये बताओ. Just tell me one simple thing. ठीक है, इसमें हमारा कोई लॉस नहीं है कि अगर तुम सोच रहे हो कि यार सामने जो स्पीकर है उसका लॉस है कि मैं नाम ले रहा हूं और कोई बोल नहीं रहा है. ठीक है, तुमने पैसे दिए हैं, तुम नहीं बोलोगे तो घाटा तुम्हारा है. फीस यहाँ आ चुकी है. सिंपल भाषा में भाई, सिंपल भाषा में यही समझो. पैसा तुमने खर्च किया है, कॉलेज तुम्हें चाहिए, एडमिशन तुम्हें चाहिए. वरना जो 7 8 9 लोग हैं यही बोलेंगे और वहां भी यही बोलेंगे एंड दे विल डोमिनेट यू. एंड फिर उसके बाद बाहर आके तुम लोग कहोगे अरे यार वो ज्यादा बोल रहा था, वो बकवास कर रहा था, वो फालतू बोल रहा था. एंड आई एम टेलिंग यू द रियल सिचुएशन. ये जो 8 9 लोगों ने इसमें पार्टिसिपेट लिया ना, these guys would dominate there also. Yeah, Ankit. So choice is yours.
Yeah, so first of all, a very good evening. Adding on to the point, it is important to reach the conclusion that why the countries are doing so. So the first and foremost reason is for developing countries, they need to shoot up their carbon values in some or the other way to reach the level where developed countries already are. And from the lens of the developed countries, they are doing so because replacing non-renewable sources is not as cheap as it looks on the paper. But then the entire thing boils down to the point why COP was initially established. As it was previously discussed, that in the Paris 21 agreement, they all decided on the level of 2 degrees Celsius. Then further they reached on to the points of 1.5. And now they are looking for some other estimates for COP 29. So if we are discussing on the basis of number of 2 degree, 1.5 and all those numbers, so as Pranav also mentioned, that it is important to have backing of correct data so that you can forecast these future numbers, without which these numbers will nothing be more than just pure predictions on the blackboard with no basis at all. That's why it is important that even with a step at the back, countries should reflect the true numbers no matter how harsh it looks on the paper.
Good, Ankit. Just a small suggestion from my side, who all spoke. Here, when you are speaking now, also keep a note of the time you are speaking. For example, just keep a note of it. You are speaking for 30 seconds or 40 seconds. Okay, just a small suggestion. For example, if you are in a GT, I would highly suggest that you should at least speak for 2 minutes. 2 minutes to 3 minutes. So that is why it is highly suggested that you should keep a watch on your time also. Yeah, cool. Now, what are the challenges? Yeah, speak.
Yes, sir. So adding to the point that you mentioned about the time limit, I just wanted to ask that I have seen few videos and they were saying that in most of the GDs, like 9 out of the 10 times, you won't be given a chance or you won't get the chance to speak twice. So should we try to, what do we say? Should we try to collect all our points in the first time that we speak, or should we try to hold something in the artillery for the second time?
No. Since day one यार मैं यही बता रहा हूँ कि पैनल पे हो सकता है एक ही चांस मिले, पहली चीज. So it is highly important कि यार पहली बारी में ही बोल दो, because you never know क्या दूसरी चांस आएगी भी या नहीं आएगी. अगर दूसरी चांस आती है तो कुछ बोल देना जो कि इधर उधर से लेके. दूसरी चांस हाथ तो रेस करना, पर पहली बारी में अपना बेस्ट दे देना, क्योंकि मार्किंग पहली बारी में ही होगी.
ओके.
दूसरी में कुछ तुमने एक्स्ट्रा बोल दिया, कुछ ऐसा बोल दिया जो कि एग्जामिनर को लगा यार कि क्या बात बोली है, तो उस टाइम पे ये हो सकता है कि वो थोड़ा एक्स्ट्रा मार्क्स दे दे. पर कोशिश करना एक ही बारी में बोल दो, क्योंकि दूसरी चांस बहुत रेयर केस है मिल जाए, डिपेंडिंग अपॉन द नंबर ऑफ पीपल. अगर 4 to 5 पीपल है सो यू कैन इजीली गेट अ सेकंड चांस डिपेंडिंग अपॉन द टाइम लिमिट. पर यार अगर पैनल ही 10 लोगों का है, इफ द पैनल इज ऑफ राउंड अबाउट 10 पीपल, So you obviously know कि यार if each person will try to speak for 2 minutes, so the time of the panel would get over. 20 minutes तो यूं ही चले जाएंगे. So you are still expecting कि यार मुझे एक और चांस मिल जाए 20 मिनट होने के बाद. It is not possible. क्योंकि ideally 20 to 25 minutes ही खिंचता है GD.
Okay.
Yeah. Shirish, Shisha, do you have any question?
Yes, actually, just adding to this GD part. So I had a GD yesterday only for SHMRD.
Yeah.
तो या सेम सिचुएशन हुआ था कल मेरे साथ कि एक तो उन्होंने 6-7 पीपल थे इन द ग्रुप एंड ओनली 7 मिनट्स दे गेव. तो और आई स्टार्टेड इन द बिगनिंग इन द फर्स्ट नोट. तो मैंने अराउंड 1 से 1.5 मिनट लिया जस्ट कंसीडरिंग के ऑल 6-7 पर्सन्स हैं तो और 7 मिनट्स हैं तो इससे ज्यादा टाइम देना भी शायद नेगेटिव हो सकता है. तो 1-1.5 मिनट में आई कंक्लूडेड एवरीथिंग आई हैड टू डू. उसके बाद सेकंड चांस के लिए आई tried, struggled a lot, but there was no one giving any chance to anyone after, one after the other.
Yeah, that is what I'm telling. The Shirish is live example of this. हाँ Shirish.
So एक चीज मैं पूछना चाह रहा था आपसे कि in this kind of situation can we do something or we can't do anything for this thing? कि मतलब दोबारा चांस नहीं दे रहा है
You obviously can't do. Just raise your hand politely and try to get indulged in the conversation if you can.
अब इसमें भी थोड़ा लक फैक्टर है. लाइक जो मेरे ग्रुप में लोग मिले थे दे वर इवन ऑन इंटरप्टिंग, दे वर नॉट गेटिंग स्टॉप, दे वर जस्ट कीप गोइंग ऑन इन देयर फ्लो ओनली. इट वाज लाइक अ फीलिंग कि वो बस आंसर दे रहे हैं, नॉट लाइक लुकिंग लाइक अ जीडी.
वही होता है शिरीष, आखिर में सीट तो सबको चाहिए ना, पैसे सबने खर्च किए हैं. तो कोई मैं बैठा हूँ और तुम बैठे हो, सीट एक ही है यार, मैं तो यही चाहूंगा ना कि तुम ना बोलो. सिंपल बात है.
हाँ एग्जैक्टली. सो मतलब यही है
अपनी चांस यू नीड टू क्रिएट. हाँ, कि पैनलिस्ट ऐसे नहीं कहेगा शिरीष तुम बोलो, प्रणव तुम बोलो. वो बोलेगा, टाइम लिमिट पूरी होगी, जितनों ने बोला उतनों की मार्किंग हो जाएगी, बाकी लोग फिर अपना देख लें. सिंपल एज दैट.
So we should take out most chance in the first chance only, right? के जितना भी है.
हाँ. जितना पुल कर सकते हो उतना करो. मतलब टाइम ज्यादा मत खींचना. कुछ जितने भी बढ़िया बढ़िया पॉइंट्स है पहली बारी में निकाल दो, जिससे कि एटलीस्ट सबकॉन्शियस में यार यू आर चिल कि मैंने इतना तो बोल दिया, दूसरी चांस आएगी तो बेटर है, मैं कुछ ना कुछ तो बोल ही दूंगा, नहीं आई तो भी मैंने अपना बेस्ट तो बोल दिया. दूसरी चांस के लिए बस ट्राई करते रहो. हाँ.
एंड अगर कोई उसके लिए नेगेटिव होता है इस केस में, जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल कोई बंदा 1-1.5 मिनट बोल चुका है, उसके बाद मैं जैसे इंटरप्ट कर रहा था उसको और ही वाज नॉट मतलब टेकिंग इनटू कंसीडरेशन कोई भी बात, तो उसके लिए ये नेगेटिव होगा या नहीं होगा?
So you can politely ask him कि as we all know that there are 5 more people in the panel and each one should be given a chance. So I would suggest that everyone should be given a chance because considering the time constraints. ऐसे करके बोल देना. So तुम भी नेगेटिव नहीं बनोगे और सामने वाले का भी मतलब उसे रियलाइज हो जाएगा ये चीज, क्योंकि वो पैनलिस्ट के सामने तो कुछ कहेगा नहीं, वो चुपचाप फिर चुप हो जाएगा जब तुमने इतनी बात करी कि टाइम कॉन्स्टेंट है और लोगों को ही बोलना है.
Okay, so we can say that definitely, right?
Yeah. पोलाइटली बोलना, ऐसे नहीं बोलना कि मतलब कुछ भी बोल रहे हो. जैसे मैंने बताया कि बिकॉज ऑफ टाइम कंस्ट्रेंट वी ऑल नो दैट ऑल पीपल नीड टू स्पीक, सो दैट इज व्हाई आई वुड अर्ज कि कैन वी पुट आवर पॉइंट्स ऐसे कुछ करके टाइम कंस्ट्रेंट का. या
गॉट इट, थैंक यू.
सो व्हाट आर द चैलेंजेस एंड कंट्रोवर्सी सराउंडिंग सीओपी? एज वी ऑल नो कि यार इफ अ न्यू in simple language, if a new law is made, if a new act is made, so there are certain sort of controversies revolving around it. Be it monetary controversy, be it some controversy like if there is some relaxation given. So similarly, there are some controversies pertaining to the field of COP. First is obviously policy disagreement. For example, if there is a certain policy pertaining to climate change. Okay, so one country might strongly agree and the other developed country might disagree, yes or no? Because the policy might include that there should be only X amount of chimneys. But the country A has X+2 amount of chimneys and these chimneys are giving good revenue for this country A. So obviously the country A would strongly disapprove this policy. Whereas on the other side there is country B who did not have any sort of chimneys. So यार उसके लिए क्या फर्क पड़ता है? वो तो कहेगी मैं तो एग्री हूँ, मेरा क्या घाटा हो रहा है इसमें? Yes or no? Yes or no? Huh. The second thing is finance allocation. The major part becomes important here is the allocation of resources pertaining to climate change. For example, if the country wants to lend X amount of money in terms of loan, then there are some certain criteria and parameters, obviously, which company X would demand, be it interest rate, be it some sort of a trade agreement. Yes or no? We can simply say a favor. Yes or no? So again, there is a disparity. For example, the country X charges X amount of money. Company Y asks only for 2% interest. For example, company X say, no, I will take 12% interest. So again, there is a disparity here. Yes or no? Yes or no? The third thing is like emission reduction commitments. As I've already told here, as I've already given that example, 0.25 degree Celsius wala. Here, the commitments are made. पर द प्रैक्टिकली कितनी कंट्रीज फॉलो कर रही हैं, क्या वो फॉलो हो पा रहा है 1.5 डिग्री सेल्सियस का? इट इज वन ऑफ द मेजर कंसर्न. अपार्ट फ्रॉम इट, यस और नो? पहले जस्ट टेल मी दिस. आर वी एबल टू फॉलो दिस 1.5 डिग्री commitment? Yes or no? So it becomes a challenge. Okay. Now the fourth point which I could think of is data sharing. Yes or no? Again, there might be a disparity. We already did a GD here that the country might not disclose each and everything just because of their personal benefits. Yeah. So again, these are the challenge and controversies. These are 3 to 4 points which you can keep in your mind. Now, this is a small table which I have prepared. The future of COP and its importance in addressing climate change. So main objective was climate advocacy. Yeah. In 2023, COP 27 would be held. And obviously the goals or agendas which were set there, those goals and agendas would be further sharpened. Yes or no? Along with that, there might be a condition like implementation of new policies. Yes or no? Yes or no, guys?
Sir, sorry to interrupt, but wasn't
Yeah.
COP 28 held in 2023?
No, COP, I guess COP 20.
8 was in 2023.
28.
9 will be in 20.
Sorry, yeah. Typo. Correct. Let me confirm it once. We can simply calculate COP 28. Yeah, COP 28 was held in 2023. Again, typo error from my side. So yeah, it was obviously, we all know that it was held in Dubai, UAE, and the main agenda was to just further the ambitions. Now the COP which would be held later, you can simply say, for example, the panelist can ask, yeah, your viewpoint. Yeah, the COPs are happening, but 2030 के बाद, what do you see yourself? For example, as a bureaucrat of the country, yeah, what all things can be there? What all things can be implemented as per COP? So you can simply say, be diplomatic and say, yeah, the main goal is to have a long vision to preserve the climate and to preserve the environment. Okay. For example, sometimes the panelist might give a situation-based question and can ask upon your opinion. So don't tell hey and why things. Just simply tell, yeah, the main aim of COP is to have a long-term goal so that the climate, environment, and greenery is preserved. Got it, guys? Yeah. So that was all from my side, particularly for COP. I have given you comprehensive notes for each and everything. I hope you have noted them. Okay, yeah. So just revise them before your interview. I have already told कि यार how you need to revise, कौन सी चीज कैसे revise करनी है, कैसे नहीं करनी है. ठीक है? तो guys, we should now wrap up. और अगर किसी का कोई भी doubt है, so they can, yeah.
So one thing I would like to add. I had read it somewhere that one of the other agendas of COP 28 was to reduce greenhouse gases by 43% by 2030.
हाँ.
So
so this is what I have mentioned ना, furthering ambitions. जो भी पहले के ambitions थे, उसी पे वो they are working.
No, so but what my point was, like in order to do these, like to cut the emissions by to reduce the temperature to 1.5 degrees centigrade more than the pre-industrial level, and these
Yeah.
greenhouse gases. Uh, like anything specific जो कि COP28 में which has come out of the COP28?
So you're asking or telling?
No, I'm asking, is there anything specific which has come out of COP28? मतलब just one final, like a one-line solution or a one-line result of the whole COP28 to achieve these
So
targets?
yeah. Basically, the main thing was only about global warming, of reducing the
Okay.
temperature range to 1.5 degree. This was the major aim. However, the minor aims might be many, but यार अगर major aim पूछे, so simply say this for COP28.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Or also mention about pre-industrial level, above pre-industrial level. Mention this term also, because the panelist might ask यार ये 1.5 degree centigrade तुम किसके reference में बोल रहे हो? Okay, Prajwal?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, can I add to that?
Yeah.
Sir, actually, the main goal was to transition away from fossil fuels, and in there,
Okay.
they have also discussed about this carbon capture and storage technology.
Okay.
Yes, sir. And apart from that, I guess there was also a discussion on microfinance, green microfinance, or environmental. I'm not sure about the term.
But again, these things are pertaining to like micro things. Just an example. The major aim was this. However, if a person belonging to the field of geology, environment, who has done his or her undergrad, so he need to remember this. But a person who is from electronics background, computer science background, I think he should remember the main objectives, and that would be more than sufficient. Unless and until the panelist wants to grill you. ठीक है, so अगर कोई ऐसा है specifically for environment, geology या कुछ भी, so उनके लिए they need to study obviously everything in detail, because यार तुमने 3 साल 4 साल किया क्या है. But for those यार जिन्होंने ये चीज पहली बार देखी है, जिन्होंने मतलब ऐसी फील्ड से है, मान लो मेडिकल, इंजीनियरिंग, नॉन टेक, कॉमर्स, तो उनके लिए रिमेंबरिंग दीज थिंग्स आर मोर देन सफिशिएंट, बिकॉज ये पैनलिस्ट ऑल्सो नो कि यार ओवरव्यू तो पता है ना सामने वाले को. जस्ट माय व्यू पॉइंट. Okay, but I would suggest Pragati that you should have a deep more insight, because you told your BSc was in geology.
Geology, yes, sir.
Yeah. So everything related to your interview would revolve around the same field.
So I actually had a few questions. जब क्लास चल रही थी, I'm sorry, मैं मार्केट में थी, इसलिए मैंने बहुत सारी चीजें मिस की हैं बीच में. तो उसमें आपने बताया था कि किस तरीके से इसको रिवाइज करना है. So please, could you please once again explain that one?
प्रगति, अगेन रिकॉर्डिंग मेरे ख्याल में अवेलेबल हो जाएगी, तो उसमें एक बार देख लेना.
Yes, sir.
एंड देन अगर समझ में नहीं आएगा तो फिर मैं नो इश्यूज, एक बार मेरे को लाइक मैसेज ड्रॉप कर देना, एंड आई विल गिव यू इनसाइट्स अपॉन इट.
यस सर, इससे एक और क्वेश्चन था. सस्टेनेबिलिटी और वर्ल्ड एनवायरनमेंट डे और वर्ल्ड अर्थ डे, इनके ऊपर भी डिस्कशंस होते हैं काफी, तो उनके बारे में कितना इन डेप्थ जानना चाहिए अपार्ट फ्रॉम कॉप?
बेसिकली यू शुड रिमेंबर द डेट्स, द थीम्स, क्योंकि हर साल थीम बदलती है. ओके, दीज आर द 2 important things we should remember.
Okay, sir.
Dates and themes for this particular year. 2023 का क्या था एंड 2024 का क्या होगा.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
ठीक है गाइस, आई होप यू लाइक द सेशन. कुछ समझ में आया? वाज इट फ्रूटफुल? या चलो गाइस, थैंक यू देन. Revise these things and all the best for your interviews.
So just a thing out of curiosity, like Sirish was saying, he had a GD yesterday. So what was the topic, Sirish, if you can just tell that?
Yeah, sure. So it was a case actually. I can brief it out, but it was written on A4 size page and complete page was filled. So the case was there is a hospital where the patients are facing average waiting time of 45 minutes. So there were some factors which had been listed out on the paper, and we had to prioritize the factors which can help us to reduce the average waiting time for the patients, and we had to give the reasons to prioritizing the factors over the others. So this was in brief the case, but it was little, lengthy it was like a full kind of case study kind of question.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much.
Most of.
Yeah, guys, I hope everyone of you had listened the case. Yeah, so all those who are having interviews pertaining to SIBMS CMHRD can also go through similar cases. Okay. Not only this specific case, but the cases of different domains, so that you can know कि आप केस को रीड कैसे करते हैं, समराइज कैसे करते हैं, ओवरव्यू कैसे लेते हैं. Okay. चलो guys, thank you everyone and good night.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you guys, thank you.